peyote stitch is a wonderful stitch, but it also can take quite a long time because you are picking up one bead at a time. And so a lot of times when you're doing like a large flatwork bracelet, one of the good things to do is use what's called a 2-drop or a 3-drop peyote pattern. It's a very similar thing. You're doing your stitch very similarly. It's just that you're picking up more beads at a time. The drop simply means with peyote stitch, when you add a bead, the bead prior to it will drop down a half step. And so that's what they're talking about with the drop. So a normal peyote stitch would be considered a 1-drop peyote because one bead drops down. With a 2-drop peyote stitch, you're going to have 2 beads that drop down, and a 3-drop will of course have 3 beads that drop down. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here is a pattern that I am working on. This is a pattern by a friend of mine. She does a lot of flat work peyote pieces. Her name is Carol Dean Sharp. She's known as Sand Fibers on Etsy. And this is a 3-drop pattern. And what I'm looking at when I say 3-drop is if you look along here, the beads are in sets of 3s. So the sticky outies here are 3 black. Here we've got 3, that's a cream, a black, and a cream. But you'll notice that you still have the half step down and then the sticky outies. It's just that your sticky outie is 3 beads instead of a single. So let me show you how that all works up. This is a copy of the pattern, and when I'm starting this out, I'm going to pick up the beads from the first 2 rows here. So I'm just going to pick all of this up. Now, because I am demoing here, I'm actually only going to pick up, let's say we're going to pick up right to here. Okay. So here we go. I'm picking up the beads for the outside, and then 3 black, and then another 3 black. Okay, come here, bead. There we go. Another 3 black. Next one is 1 black and 2 of the cream. And then the last one is 2 cream and 1 black. Okay, I'll bring those down to the end of my thread here, leaving myself about a 4 to 6 inch tail below it because I want to be able to weave that back in later. Now, when I come back on this pattern, and let me show you here, so I've picked up to here. Now I'm going to come across and do these sets of beads to make the prior beads drop down and give me that peyote staggered look. So the first set of beads that I'm going to pick up here are 2 black and 1 cream. And 1 cream. So now I've got 3 beads on my needle. I'm going to skip the first 3 beads of this segment that I've already strung, and then I'm going to pass through the next 3 beads. And when I do that, there we go. Oops, and then I didn't pass through 3. Oh yes I did. Okay, here we go. It just is not sitting right. Got to convince it to sit right. There we go. Be good little beads. There we go. So now you've got 3 stacked on top of 3, and you're coming out of a set of 3. So my next set that I'm picking up are going to be all black. 1, 2, 3. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to skip 3 and pass through the next 3. And then I've got 1 more set for this row, and those are going to be all black also. So I'm skipping 3. I know black is not the best thing for you to see on video. I wasn't thinking when I just picked up these same old beads. Okay, so now we're at the end of our row, and here's where you can see we've got the sticky outies all established on both sides, and now I can just continue doing my peyote pattern back and forth this way. In the past, I have shown you, when I talked about how to follow diagrams, I've told you that sometimes I find it difficult to follow these kinds of diagrams to keep my place, and that I would use a word diagram. When I'm doing a 2-drop or 3-drop peyote, I actually find using these diagrams easier. And what I do as I go along is as I finish each row, I will actually just mark out with a Sharpie marker the beads that I have done. So here I've done all of these. I came back and I did this next row, and so now I'm ready to do this row. I also will take a piece of paper, so now I can kind of mark where I'm at. So when I'm going through to look what I'm doing next, it's going to be these beads, these beads, these beads, and then I would come around and do my next row. All right. So doing 2-drop peyote would be just the same. You're just going to do 2 beads instead of 3 beads at a time. It makes peyote go much faster, and it also still creates that same gorgeous supple effect. You can also do 2-drop, 3-drop, 1-drop, all in the same pattern, and there's no reason why you can't do that. It's a good way to get some color variation and establish a color pattern. For instance, you might want to do 3 beads on the outside edges, then graduate to 2 beads, and then have a single bead in the center. That would give you an odd count peyote because that's 5 sets of beads, but it also gives you a really cool pattern to establish with color. So play with the 2 bead and the 3 bead peyote drop and see what you think.